So often as creators, we can find ourselves lacking inspiration. And during those times, we might think it's best for us to just quit, sit it out until inspiration comes back and hits us. But that can be detrimental, and it would probably be better for us to work through whatever we're going through and just create some pieces that maybe are throwaways, maybe aren't that good, and just set out some deliberate time to create something. Hey guys, it's Daniel, and today I'm going to be talking about my creative process to make music. And I guess you can apply this to any sort of creative styles. You could probably apply this to basically anything, but it's mostly centered around creative things. So like music, art, I don't know. Art basically incorporates all the creative stuff, doesn't it? So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. I split my creative process into 4 stages: brainstorming, building, release, and reflection. So number 1, brainstorming. You may have seen the off-season documentary which J. Cole released, where he was just talking about his new album. But in that, he said that when he was first starting out, he would just write a verse every day, just write something, and then also make a beat every day, just something random, just so that he could get some ideas out on paper and then maybe use them throughout. So in the brainstorming process, I decided to start something like this recently and just start writing random verses, random bars that just come to my mind, and just putting them on a Google Keep document and just leaving them to sit there. And at the end of the week, I'll go through them, and if they're absolute like bad, terrible lines, I'll just delete them. But if I think they could stay, I'll just keep them there for maybe a line in a song when I'm writing or whatever, and I'm like, what could go here that could fit? Then I'll go through all these random bars, these random lyrics, and I might just stick them in. And sometimes they end up linking to each other as well for the story of the song I'm trying to tell, so it just works well. Because you grab from when you have that creative spark, and then you put it in when maybe you feel like you can't get the ideas out of your head and onto the page. Another thing I do is just randomly sing to myself. Like sometimes a phrase will just come into my head, and then I'll just make a random melody on that, and it will just end up being something that I use in the future. Here's a voice note for a song that I released as well. I'll just put it in as an example. Eyes look into my mind, tell me the truth. Let's go. Cause what do you stand for? And yeah, this can be applied to, like, let's say you're drawing something, just randomly draw a couple lines, I don't know, make a concept of a piece, something like that, and just keep that on you. And another thing that can help in that same sort of frame of mind is when you get an idea, write it down and just put it in like a notes app or in a notebook you could always keep around, just so that when you go back to it later, you haven't forgotten it and it's all there. I usually use voice notes for when I like think of a melody, because if not, they will literally disappear. And if it's just lyrics with a melody as well, I'll probably just forget the original melody, which can make for a very good creative process. But sometimes it's good to just have that one melody and then branch from there. So one other thing I do is I find random beats online. They can be like free for profit beats. They can be just, I don't know, normal beats that you have to pay for to get a license for, and then I'll just put them into FL Studio and I'll think, how can I change this beat and I guess make it better or more like my style? And that sort of sparks your creativity in that, because you have a base foundation and all you're doing is putting your custom touches on the beat, and that can make for some really good music. And finally, you can just randomly sit there and play some instruments, or I don't know, work on your craft. I don't know, randomly singing, randomly rapping some bars. I put some in my vlog from the week in the life. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out. It'll be in the eye on one of these corners. And yeah, that sort of thing, just like random generating things just are good, and they can just get you into that sort of free frame of mind where you're just throwing out random things into the world and receiving what is good back to create more. So then number 2 is building. And this is the point where you get rid of the nonsense that you had before and you split it into the good and the bad. And the bad It can stay around if you want it. If you have the storage space for the bad, sure enough, keep it. But sometimes it's best to just throw out our bad ideas because hoarding is never the way. Just click delete, go into the recycling bin, click delete on that. You probably will not feel a thing. There's no need to go back. It's good to see progress, but it's also good to see progress on what you finished as well, as opposed to seeing, oh, this unfinished thing, but now I've got this great finished product. That's not progress. That's existence. I don't know. You can't compare an unfinished product to a finished product. But yeah, pick out the good from the bad. What sounds good to you? What do you like? What excites you there? And then also in your building, when you're starting to create these sorts of musical things, finding reference material is really good. So if there's a song that you think could sound in a similar sort of soundscape as a song you're working on, then you can bring that in and see the sorts of elements that they use to build up the songs, that they use to just create an overall better mood, I guess, for the creative piece. And you can add those things in yourself with your own style as well. And it's also good for creating mixes and masters as well, because you can compare to, I guess, the established artists that there are with like millions on a mix or something like that. And then of course, ask for feedback. If you have a piece of work, you're probably going to see it and you're either going to be in two frames of mind during the time that this is incredible or this is absolutely rubbish. So in both stages, ask for feedback. Don't let your ego get in the way. If someone comes up to you and they're like, right, this actually wasn't that good, you could change it to this and it would improve it by quite a bit, then you're gonna increase your product and it's just gonna be all the more better for it. And if you think it's bad and someone goes, well, actually, it's pretty good, there's only this tiny thing you need to fix, you could be thinking you were on the wrong track. You could change so much about your own creative work that is you and is good just because you don't think it matches anything else or it's good in general. So asking for feedback is really useful. And then number 3 is release. So when you think about release, it's not just about releasing music, it can be about releasing artwork, all that sort of thing. What needs to come out? What do you feel like is going to tell your story next in the best way? And release that, bring it out, do your best to get it to the right people. In music, you have to try and find playlists. I'll list a link to like a whole load of playlists down below. There's also places like Submit Hub, BBC Introducing if you're in the UK. I always use that. Got a couple songs played on there. And essentially, it's just a nice way to get your music heard, get it out there. And when you get your music out there, you do also end up getting feedback back. You can ask people for feedback after your release so you get an even wider range of people, or people might be like, oh, can I talk to you about this? Or this was great about the song, this is how you can improve next time, and that can really help you build on that. And yeah, then you have to think about promotion, which is probably the hardest part of music, and I wouldn't say I got it down the greatest. I'm trying loads of different techniques, but like I was saying, playlisting is a big one, because when you get onto a playlist, if it's big or small, depending on how long they leave you on there, you can just get constant plays and then constant new listeners who come to this playlist from all around the world. You just have to find the right playlist, the right communities, and really sell your music as best you can. And then finally, there's reflection. So you have to look back on the release and see what worked well and what didn't work well. So was the song good enough in your opinion? Was the song good enough in the people's opinion? So the people actually listening to your music, how well did it stream? How well did you promote it? Did you get a good promotional campaign going? Because sometimes I do it, I feel like almost too often. I end up promoting for like maybe a few days, a couple weeks, and then it'll just be like a slow trickle, when Spotify actually says that data shows the peak for a release is around 7 days after. So you need to have your promotion constant, need to be on it. And yeah, promotion is tough. It's a tough field, but make sure you're prepped before, and that's something you can reflect on if you want as well. And then you can also think about how the release felt. So at the start, you might feel elated. You might feel like this is great, this is going well, and all of this. You might feel like, wow, my numbers are really going up. Then you might feel like, wow, my numbers actually aren't really doing too well this time. So what did I change from the last time, or what can I change for the next time? And that's a really good way to push your music forward and to really improve on yourself release by release. So thank you for watching this video. I am not like some sort of guru on this music promotion side or on the music side. I'm just sharing some of my knowledge in creative processes. And I hope these processes can help you to improve on your music. Maybe I said something you didn't know. If there's something you would add to this video, leave it down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. And if you're new around here, hit subscribe as well. Turn on that notification bell, and I will see you on Monday.